Greetings. Welcome to Wake the Dead. Today, we are very happy to continue our deep dive investigation with William Ramsey on the Manchurian Candidate, from fiction to fact. And today it is a swapcast with the Resonant State, hosted by Hans Utter. Welcome, Hans.
Thank you, Sean, and great to have you back, William. And this has, I think, been a really compelling series in dealing with a lot of real time situations, as we've discussed. And before we dive in here, and I pass the microphone to William, just want to shout out my brother-in-law just passed away, Zubin Garg, who was one of the top singers in Northeast India. So it's a big huge event. You got the streets are shut down. There's a lot of controversy going on about what actually happened to him, but just stay a little bit in memoriam since I got to meet him uh, yeah. And so this even scuba diving is not this. The story keeps changing, right? So he wasn't scuba diving. He may have gotten pushed off a boat. We're not sure, but yeah, that's Subin, and so I'll just leave that there. In 52, used to seem really old. Doesn't seem that old anymore. So he was pretty young as things go. So, um, all right. So go ahead,
Yeah,
William.
sorry to hear that, man. I'm sorry for your loss. It's terrible.
Likewise.
Too young these days.
It's terrible.
Guys, thanks for having me back. Lots going on. The Manchurian Candidate is fictional, but it's becoming more fact as you watch this whole Charlie Kirk thing. The story's even more ridiculous than the JFK story. But I'm just learning more, like more pieces are coming together. I know we covered a little bit of Condon in the last show. I thought maybe we'd read that full introduction to get started because I think it's important what he's trying to relate. And then also I learned that Roy Cohn, who the character of Eleanor Iselden is based on, was a member of Permindex. Like he's in this group, he's a member of the board, but he's on there with other really kind of international intrigue figures and the head of a mafia family, Joe Bonanno. So it ties right into JFK. So this Permindex is around JFK and Clay Shaw. People remember about the JFK assassination and the prosecution by Garrison. Clay Shaw was the person that was tried in 67 and then was let off. But he was very internationally intrigue oriented. There's no question about it. Always traveling to Europe and all these things. And so it's just, you're just learning more and more and more. And then you have this kind of like nexus between him and Roy Cohn. There's just so many strange pictures of them together and this early stuff. I think it's another line of inquiry about this guy that some people have looked into. There was an article we pulled up in Vanity Fair, which I think had a great title, How Donald Trump and Roy Cohn's Ruthless Symbiosis Changed America. So, I mean, some of this stuff just
Great
isn't
wording.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I guess there's more articles to read. There's, McCarthy and Cohn, for people who were using this kind of Manchurian Candidate as a reference point. This is Eleanor Iselden's husband is a representation of McCarthy. So it goes back to all the McCarthy hearings, but Cohn was just all over the place. There's fairly young Trump, and just like all these criminal, he's just surrounded by mob people and stuff like that. So if Cohn is his mentor, that's pretty incredible. Here's a picture of these two together. He actually kind of decorates his houses, or Cohn does, like Trump, like gold and all these lions and all this stuff like that. But he's holding a picture of him and Trump. So Trump might have been selected a long time ago. Yeah.
Would you mind just going through some of those pictures on the bottom there, on the bottom right, with those? He's with that weird frog thing.
Sure.
So
that's creepy, man. With the Muppet.
Whoa, what is that? So this just goes to show that blackmail is the way it's done today, because Trump's mentor, Trump is a mentee of a blackmailer who is mob connected, and no wonder he's on the Epstein list, and no wonder he's trying to cover it up. So, it's all a hoax. Just don't look there, guys. He's there to cover up the mob, the illegal crap that the mob has done over these years, and that's his job. to cover it up, sweep it under the rug, right?
It's not even mentioned. There's nobody mentions the mob
Right.
anymore. Like it's just
Yeah.
a non-issue. Like, why are you guys talking about that?
Good point.
My God.
Yeah.
I think there's a picture of Cohn and Maxwell and Trump together somewhere. I gotta find it.
But just this particular, if you don't mind, can you just double click on that one with him with the two stuffed animals?
Sure.
So yeah, for people that are listening, this is a very, one thing during the shows is to mention that when something comes into the media, some of these pictures are staged, right? And they're there to have some type of an impact. It may be an indirect impact, like the Charlie Kirk picture we saw, but right here we've got two stuffed animals. I can't see what's on the top of the television.
It's like
set.
little mini frogs and little knick-knack type things, frog themes.
This is very odd. Right?
Can you click full screen on that one of those?
Let's see if I can.
Image, sorry.
I don't know. Oh, why isn't that coming up on the screen? Are you seeing that?
We see the array of little pictures.
Okay. On my side, it's just not coming up. Hold on, let me remove
no
this
problem.
on the stage. Why isn't that coming up all the way?
But it kind of reminiscent of Keck, that whole Keck thing with the frog meme,
Yeah. But the thing is, he's showing, if you look at the picture, he's holding a picture of him with Trump with the two puppets, right? And it's him and Trump, and there's like mirroring that aspect. So
they're both puppets, right? Puppets of higher orders.
It's very odd. Okay, well, we can move on from that. But
well, let me bring it up. I'm trying to manage all these screens, but if I can get the actual picture itself, I think it'll come up. It just, for some reason, my computer's not doing it. Share screen, stop, share. Okay, there we go.
Oh yeah, that's great. Wow, look at all the knickknacks. They're all frogs on the TV.
And there's a walrus behind.
Yeah,
the walrus.
Whoa.
That's
Where's the oysters? Oh, we killed them all. Yum. Dude.
That's a very and that pink. What is that, lizard or something? Is that a frog wearing a pink suit, like kind of a pink tuxedo jacket?
Right.
That is, man.
Yeah, and if the pink one is on the left, and then the right one is kind of smaller on the right, and then you look in the image, the pink one is on the left, the Roy Cohn, and then the other one, the Trump, the smaller frog, is on his right. From this perspective, or on his left, I guess. So like the two puppets mirrors the image that he's holding up right there. It's the same, so Trump is the one that's not wearing the pink. Trump is the one that likes women. Roy Cohn is the other.
and notice the assassin frog on the left of the TV. There's a frog. Looks like he's holding a rifle. See that? Or is there maybe playing a violin?
I think it's a violin. It's a fiddle. It's a fiddle.
Violin. But I do know I had a doctor when I was at Ohio State. He used to tell me one of his family friends was an assassin that played in bands. Like he was in Germany, right, undercover, and would play in these orchestras. And he had his gun in his violin case, and then he would perform and then take people out. So
and that's what the mob would do. They would carry around like a violin case with their. I mean, in the movies they would put that. Anyway, okay.
Enough of that, but that's definitely weird.
Yeah, this is fun.
We have to do a full show on Cohn and what he's up to, because all that stuff's lost, but it's in Trump's brain. Like he knows all that. He's pictured with him all the time. You can go back to these just these simple things from Google, and it's just like pick after pick of Trump with Cohn.
But it's not.
I don't know why it won't pop up.
It's not like in his brain. It's like. That's how he operates. He's learned how to operate through this mentor of his. And so now when he calculates everything, it's going to be like that. It's not just like some idea he has. It's like how he thinks, Right. Really scary.
What's going on with Cohn's face?
Oh, yeah.
He's got it's rotting off or something. It's so weird.
What did he do with his nose? He did a reverse hook. You know what I mean? So it's like it's
so you can just pour the cocaine down the hole.
I mean, this guy was a guy who went to Studio 54 and stuff like that. Cohn was a carouser or whatever you want to call it.
But
God, it's so weird.
So yeah, his face does look like silly putty. I mean, it's all kind of mushed. Like
But
No, this is like the scarier one. Is like this is after his most recent surgery. Here we go. His face has been pulled back.
That's like the Joker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the Joker.
Yeah, like Brand X. You remember from the one from the 1990 or whatever? Like, oh, it looked like they had Brand X, and then this one has the smiley face. It's sick. Look at the bags. Holy crap! Wow.
that's
Yeah, he got disbarred too. Like, died at 59, AIDS.
59. He looks like he could be like 89.
Yeah, he really does. He looks
And-
old.
So we know AIDS is not real, right? Okay.
What did he die
I mean-
of then? What did he die?
Well,
of?
probably the AZT.
Yeah, AZT,
just
yeah.
like I mean, from Fauci, Lord Fauci.
Yeah, just as an aside, you have Peter Dusseldorf, the guy that sort of discovered the HIV virus, and then he's the one that came out against it and said this is actually just a genetic artifact. What was initially causing it was amyl nitrate
Right.
with San Francisco bathhouse culture. So the same people that made AZT also made the poppers. What the poppers do is
Wow.
they suspend your immune system.
Right. Give
So
you
when you do-
lesions too, right?
Yeah,
Lesions.
when you do the popper and you're, enjoying your recreational sexual activity, your immune
Plowing.
system is shut down. Imagine you're in a bathhouse with hundreds of guys,
And
bacterial
they're
breeding around.
it's like not lubricated. There's blood that's going to happen a lot of times, and it's it's sick.
Bro, dude, what goes on in there was like a petri dish. Like
Ugh.
there were stories. I grew up in Northern
And
California.
Fauci used to hang out in the bathhouses
I
too, right?
wouldn't be surprised at all, dude. Nothing would surprise me about that guy. But some of those dudes, they would like chalk up like 24 different dudes in a weekend.
So
Like they would get off of work at 6 p.m. and go back to work at 6 a.m. on Monday and just spend the whole weekend in the bathhouse.
So obviously, whatever they're dying from could be anything, right?
Dude,
They
they
just say
had
it's
they had
immunodeficiency.
multi, they had all kinds of diseases and stuff.
It's, anyway, but that is that was a Depop program, that whole thing, the AIDS epidemic. And Fauci was saying you get it from touching a cereal box and all that crap, and everybody was afraid. And I don't know. I think that was a whole thing. We could go down a rabbit hole with that.
Yeah. It just one thing like that Magic Johnson, who had AIDS,
Right.
the doctor Dusseldorf, of course he got shut. He was like Nobel Prize or whatever. They cut him out. He couldn't get funding to save his life. I think he may be still alive. He told Magic Johnson, "Don't take the AZT." He's still alive, man. He's fine.
Right. Yeah.
He's still going. And that AZT, I mean, that was the medicine is what was killing people. Now the immune system collapse. There's other factors for that. And there's Gary Knoll was like in Africa, he would go, oh, there's AIDS epidemic. Well, let's just take all the pollution out of the water. Let's take all the sewage flowing into the water supply. Boom, suddenly AIDS is gone, right? So this is another
Right.
example. So anyways, okay.
It's incredible. But these two guys, Cohn was representing Trump a lot. And at the same time he's representing Trump, he's representing mobster to Anthony Salerno. He's like a notorious mobster. So, and then Salerno aids Trump in the construction of Trump Tower. So these guys are connected. There's just don't talk about it.
Tower, right? The tower, not Trump skyscraper, Trump Tower. That's important because 2016 is when he gets elected, but I talk about that a lot.
In his 1987 book, The Art of the Deal, Trump wrote about Cohn saying, all the hundreds of respectable guys who made careers out of boasting about their uncompromising integrity, but have absolutely no loyalty. What I most liked about Roy Cohn was that he would do just the opposite. So what is he saying? He's totally loyal, but with no integrity toward anybody else.
Very telling.
Direct quote. Yeah, and then he got disbarred in 86. He was diagnosed with AIDS in 84, passed away 86 again.
And as I think I mentioned in the pre-show, he was blackmailing Hoover. So he had access to, Cohn had access to everybody because that's how Hoover kept his FBI empire, right? They had stuff on everybody. But then he had the goods on Herbert Hoover. So So he had this immense power apex. If you think about it, I mean, this guy probably could control everybody in the entire, or at least had access to the levers of control of the entire country, practically the power structure.
Cohn exchanged Christmas gifts with FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover, and they attended parties with their mutual friend Louis Rosenstiel, founder of liquor company Shenley Industries. Cohn referred to Donald Trump as his best friend. Cohn told journalists that Trump phoned him 15 to 20 times a day, and that Trump was the last person to speak with him before he died.
So remember
look at
the
this.
other.
Oh, yeah, it keeps going.
Sorry, the other episodes we talked about how this Shaw character in Manchurian Candidate was told what to do on the phone. He was given triggers over the phone. So why is Trump calling 15 times? Does he need more information, more instructions? Is he getting instructions 15 times a day?
He's being handled by Cohn, maybe. Who knows? Gosh. I mean, that is weird. That's like really needy too. Why isn't he calling his dad?
No, and that's the implication, I think, of that picture, right? That in the beginning of with those puppets, right? Those stuffed animal avatars, is that in a sense Trump is a a controlled asset, because that
Controlled asset, yeah. Always was, yeah. Crazy. That's wild. Let me see if I can bring that up. This guy is really a show in itself. It's just, there's too many strange connections. The perm index thing is something else. Freaking phone calls with CIA Director William Casey. Close with Craig J. Spence. That was the guy who was involved in the trafficking thing, who ended up dead in a hotel. He worked with Alan Dershowitz on the Class 1 Bulow case. He's friends with William Buckley and the New York mayor. And just goes on and on.
It's like we peek under the rug and we see all that dirty crap. Like, I mean, all these people, they're all connected, and it's all just this cesspool of blackmail and mobsters.
Cohn attached himself to several older, powerful men who in turn provided Cohn with assistance. One of them may have been New York's Cardinal Francis Spellman, whose own alleged homosexuality had been the subject of controversy in the church.
That sounds like the entrance to a very deep rabbit hole right there. The Catholic Church. Should get Johnny Cerrucci here to talk about this.
Here's Roger Stone. He says, Roy was not gay. He was a man who liked having sex with men. Gays were weak, effeminate. He always seemed to have these young blonde boys around. It just wasn't discussed. He was interested in power and access.
So that's important. That's like the same thing with the dark occult people who rape the children in these ritual ceremonies. A lot of times, like they aren't gay.
They're not gay,
it's
right.
A power thing. It's like, I am taking power from this thing that's crying and wants to run away. And it's like, so eventually, like, I did a series with John Euler on Wake the Dead, where we talked about, he's a psychiatrist, he's a counselor, been working in prisons with psychopaths, and talks about how nobody's born being a pedophile. They start liking post-pubescent women, and then it's a gradual progression back into the kiddie stuff and the domination stuff. So it's a stepwise progression where you have to silence your morality or physical pleasure, and the more that happens, the more normal it becomes, and then it's like changing your brain, So I think that, like, a lot of these politicians and stuff, they're not I'm sure that
they're led down a path.
Yes, and it's like they're given these opportunities one after another, and if you're not going to rape this kid, then you're not with us, and so they have to, if they want to climb the ladder, of power. So and that all happens with the blackmail at the same time. Mm-hmm. So it's like they're agreeing to this, and then that gets recorded, and then then now they're in the fold, and It's like everybody in the gang does it together. So
Right.
a lot, I mean, they might have the proclivities to be attracted to, or they might not, but it's like I am dominant over this thing.
Right.
It's like a ego power, Satanism. Right?
I did a show with a woman who did a lot. She was like a specialist in kind of like corporate ethos and stuff like that. I got to get it up, but get it out of the back of like my archive. But she was talking about how these business dudes would go to like whorehouses together, and it wasn't the sex was there, but it was to bind themselves together. So like we're together, we're cheating on our wives together, we're doing these not nasty things together,
Look
and
at
then binding. So this is mob behavior or like dark group underworld behavior that they do these
Skull
crimes
and
together. In the
Bones.
bonds, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Those guys in the coffins jerking off together and peeing on each other. I mean, come
Yeah.
on.
We'll also see, I mean, the older term, the archaic term was sodomite, right? So, and sodomite, this was also correlated, say, with usury in terms of like compound interest, where the life force of money, instead of money becoming like the lifeblood of the economy, you're sucking that energy off, right? You're destroying, you're extracting. So it's seen almost as like a middle finger to God, right? Because you're using the procreative act through another orifice, and then also it does things to the nerve ganglia, right, the spine and all this stuff. So there's a lot of things that it
Crowley
does
talked about that.
to the brain. And so Crowley used that stuff. Was he a homosexual? No, but he would use this stuff in rituals, right?
Right.
And also there's that sense of when with especially with the young boys, you're dominating, you're feeding off of them, you're destroying them, and so that's
Right.
so I don't know to what extent that's involved there, but there is like that level of this being almost a magical act of saying we are going against nature, right? There's that book Against
Yeah.
Nature. So it is, and it essentially, no offense to anybody out there, but I mean, the sodomite it's used as a ritual mechanism, and it's also used as a binding, a control, and again, rewiring the whole central nervous system, which people equate with the subconscious, right? The central nervous system, the CNS, right there at the base of the spine. So, okay.
Isn't that like the Kundalini magic? It's a way of breaking it and like forcing it on the victim, where like the Crowley's Thoth deck, the Ace of Swords, it's got like the crown with the sword going through the crown. And that's like some, it represents other things. Like the crown is the a-hole of the victim, and the sword is like the magician, like, and it's sick. I'm sorry, listeners, but
No, but that symbolism is in the end of Eyes Wide Shut, right? So you have the tower
Right.
going through the circle, and it's actually repeated within Crowley's Thoth deck for people who don't know that, because I think that same motif is in the goat card of Thoth, where you have the
Right.
sword. Let me see if I can. Bring it
Yeah,
up.
the main channel in the center with the testicles and the souls in the testicles fighting to get out. It's like,
Bro, you want to hear a really weird story? I was at the Wynn Casino, and there is a room on the bottom floor where they took I'm not kidding about this. I will find it and bring it up. But they took the direct color and motif of the thing going into the circle on Crowley's goat card and made like a room out of it, dude, with the same color in the background. Let's see if I can find it. It'll blow your mind.
Whoa.
Yeah. No, it's
so
crazy.
it's like a central
Let me see if I
channel,
can find it. Let me see
which
if I
is
can
the
find it.
shaft of the.
And you see that in the toy store. It's really
there's
dark. Like the inclusion into the Toy Story is like an even darker, like pedophile thing, because the symbol in the background is there's the center pillar going into the circle. So you see it just like this.
And if people don't know, I mean, the negative elementals are one of the most important, especially air element, right? Air element associated, and so I'm gaining control of these elementals probably through also the ritual offering of the child that's being sodomized potentially.
Also, the children they put through ritual ceremonial magic. They associate the child with the goddess or with the gods or whatever, the energies, and then they rape the child. So it's like they're raping the goddess. Like that happens a lot. Like the whole Hyros Gamos thing with the that is very much related. So it's not only breaking the whatever of the child victim, it's also dominating and breaking the goddess herself and like destroying the fabric of the universe type of shit.
Wow. This, I mean, the Wynn Casino is a trip because the art is very odd, dude. Like, let me see if I can pull this up. But like, he has the carousel, right? This is the theme of like mind control, right?
Yes, we talked about that in the first episode, the carousel.
Yeah. So it's like, but there's a picture in here. I don't know if I can find it of like this thing that's like literally the top deck, but the red carpet too. Sean.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, the red carpet.
And that specific color of red, right? It's not just red. It's this very specific
butterflies. Look at the butterflies on there.
Man.
Yeah, this place is dark, dude. Like I was
Dude,
I was creeped out. Don't walk through here. Like,
man.
and here's like the circles on the ceiling.
Right.
But there's a sequence. I don't know. It's off here where the pillar goes into one of these circles on the ceiling.
I think
And it is really weird.
I think the main chamber in the that London Magic House, what is it called? Magic Circle. I think they got a main pillar in their center room too. I don't think it doesn't have the red. I think it's like blue or whatever.
These
But those guys,
butterflies. Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, the Wynn is a trip, guys. It's dark. They've put in all kinds of stuff in here that is
who owns that? Do you know?
I forgot his real name. It's like
Who built that place?
Jerry Weinstein. It's a dude. The whole all of Vegas now is completely owned by Jews. I mean, that doesn't sound right, but
didn't it start with Meyer Lansky? I mean,
all those guys,
Bugsy
yeah.
Siegel,
Bugsy Siegel,
yeah, right.
But that's where that big financer of Trump again, that woman Adelson, her husband owned the Venetian, so that's how she started off in gambling.
Right.
And then it just got worse and worse.
And they got all that money from the vices of us going and just giving our money to these casinos. It's like they're feeding off of us. It's like,
look at this lobby bar. Can you see that picture? I wish I could bring it in, but it's like a tree holding up something. That's
a figure. It's a person tree. The trunk is a person.
Yeah,
it looks like.
I wish I could.
And just, gambling, of course, we have to see the change in our culture, right? I mean, if you look at the change, like say marriage, you look at nuclear family, the massive breakdown, but gambling, since it goes for thousands of years, has been known as one of the worst addictive vices that exists, right? And you can gamble everywhere, right? I'm watching Netflix, and they have all these sports gambling and this and that, but gambling, I mean, people, they go, you've seen it, right? You go there and they're just zombies at the slot machines, man. And it's normalized, and in fact, it's almost hard to escape gambling now. It's everywhere.
Dopamine.
It's everywhere.
Dopamine, like getting that fix every time. It's just like a heroin junkie, same thing. Their brains are stuck on it. Yeah.
Bro, it's really dark. And these places, if you go into these casinos, they deliberately made them non-square, so you basically are lost in like,
a labyrinth.
I don't know. Yeah, like a weird like labyrinth spatially. Like I walked into the Venetian, I'm like, I don't even know what north and south is now. Like I've walked around for like 10 minutes. I don't even know how to get out of here. It's really that bad. It's deliberate.
Don't they put like something in the air, like a smell, and then they give you like free alcohol too?
Yeah, you get free alcohol as long as you're gambling.
Yeah, I did when I had my old radio show number 4 or 5 years ago. So I had someone talking about how even the carpet patterns, the lighting, these are all designed with very specific literally psychoactive properties, right? And then with the scent, with this stuff, creating this disorientation, and it's very, very, very well researched. Okay, so it creates a spatial temporal distortion, dissociative patterning. So every aspect of this has gone through the most advanced, calculations and studies and expertise. So it's very important to realize, like, you go in there, you are being disoriented. You're being put into sort of an Alice in Wonderland. You're going through the looking glass.
The only time I've ever been to a casino is when I went to go see Bob Dylan live. Bob Dylan plays casinos now. It's like,
wow. Where in Ohio?
No, it was like Rhode Island, I think, or it was Connecticut. I think it was Connecticut. But those places like the Fear and Loathing, Terry Gilliam knew all about like the visual effect of the casino and what it does, and with his wide angle lens, he was really helped to disorient us, who apparently most of us were teenagers on drugs watching it. You know what I mean? So like it's this loop of like fun. I love Terry Gilliam anyway.
Vegas is a dark place, dude. It's really
Yes.
dark. There's like things there that are not good, and it's
Yeah.
all the tourism is going down. Like nobody wants to go there anymore. They have really cheap deals now, but yeah, that don't. If people are at the Wind, find this room. It's there. Like take a picture of it. I'll see if I can find the color of the
Spelled
Crowley deck. Yeah, WYNN. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, so like somehow we ended up back on Crowley again. What the hell, man?
It all goes back. Well, these guys, how much of these guys don't know Crowley? Like, don't you think they all know something, or they're
right
adjacent or people? Like, I haven't seen somebody in the elite who didn't have some kind of like, shaman or occult teacher or something like that. A Crowley type person would fill that role.
Right, Crowley like helped build the language for them. Their magical, like that 777 book. It like put all the associations of everything. Like it's Anyway,
this is what the Crowley card looks like. Let me see if I can get this.
Oh,
and the room that I'm talking about at the Wynn emulates that kind of. Do you see that kind of pink red in the background?
Yeah,
it has that pink color to it, and then it has the motif of the kind of phallus going into the circle, or
that's
lingam yoni, or whatever you want to call it.
Does it? I don't know if it looks like a yoni to me.
I don't know.
Hey, by the way,
it's probably chocolate starfish. But the if you look at the testicles, like, so this is basic. It's like built as like we're looking at the shaft and testicles of genitalia, because it's like the Scorpio energy, and this is the devil card. He's a smiling.
All corresponds, right? Like all these correspondences and overlapping.
Yeah,
concepts and stuff.
And you see on the left one is the females, and there's a very small female. They're like praying to get out, like, please let us be born, right? And in the right one, this is the only card where the devil exists. Like he is there in the right testicle, pushing down the other males, climbing up to the top, saying, I'm the one gonna get born. Yeah.
And these are very similar to what was I'm sorry, his name just escaped me, the big high-powered Democratic fund guy who had fundraiser, who had all these sculptures, right, based on like Jeffrey Dahmer's victims and stuff like that.
Oh, right, the two brothers, right?
Yeah.
Guy,
Podesta brothers, right?
Podesta brothers. Yeah, so there's similar stuff to the those displays in the Podesta household, and there you go. I mean,
it overlaps, man. These elite guys are sick. They're sick.
And it's like, if that isn't, I mean, if this is the construction of a homunculus, like that's what they were doing, is Crowley was trying to make a homunculus that had no soul in it, so that he could put whatever he wants in the thing to animate it with whatever he chose, right? So this is what that horned devil in the right one is going to be born into a homunculus. Like that's not a yoni up there. Like that's, anyway, I think that's depicting. And that's why the goat is smiling, and the goat's third eye is awake.
Third eye.
Right.
It's got what's
the
this
laurel,
thing?
It's like grapes, I think. Mm-hmm. Oh, that right there, that's the Egyptian, the Ka or the Ba. That's like the eternal soul with the wings.
Yeah, with the wings, yeah. Wow.
And one interesting to tie in is the homunculus, cybernetics, God and Gollum, Norbert Wiener, right? The material scientist, he's talking about that's a very interesting book, because there's a lot that's sort of there's different levels. It's part of it's written for an elite level, right? And it's also written but God and Gollum, right? And in a sense, is the homunculus becomes a society, the social order, when you have this hypnotic trance, right? In a sense, you can fill the mass mind with these types of encoded control signals.
And then the elite that are in charge of the signal that's going out to the golem, creating the golem, they become the gods of the people that, you know what I mean? It's the whole, like, if we are the ones listening to the TV, then we are golem to them. You know what I mean? We go to our job and we vote and we do all that, mindless, slavery.
crazy. Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Cone. No, he's an
Wah,
important part
wah.
of that goes back to the very beginning. And then Cone's clients, including Bill Bonanno, son of Joseph Bonanno, credit him with having compromising photographs of former FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover. Because Hoover knew the pictures existed, Cone told Bonanno Hoover feared being blackmailed. So they're friends. He's got compromising things. And then if we get into these Estabrooks thing, who's the number one person that Estabrooks is talking to? Hoover. So it all rolls over together. It all
So that's
into
those.
reality, into fact.
So this document that we saw in part 3 from G.H. Estabrooks, George Hoban Estabrooks, was that was directed to the FBI. That was like sent to them.
It was an FOIA that came out of Black Vault. 500-page. The 500-page document is from Black Vault, but it was a list of all the correspondence from Estabrooks to the FBI. Yeah,
right. So, do you want to shift gears into that? Or do you
I think so. I think so.
We're going to do the Operation Mind Control intro.
Yeah, let's do this.
Right, let's do.
I'll read this, and you guys can comment. I think it's important because it kind of bookends or also shows that the Manchurian Candidate was a lot of factual information, and that Condon was not some kind of like amateur. Like he was. They asked him to do the intro for this. Like there's the two. Like I think I mentioned last time. The two most famous books are Marx's book, Search for the Manchurian Candidate, and then Operation Mind Control. Like what they compiled too before the internet is astonishing. Like they keyed in to the importance of this topic. But you know, the fact that he was writing the Manchurian Candidate is something. And it's also interesting too. The book is dedicated to Ellsberg, right, who leaked the Pentagon Papers. Prudy, who was kind of like a whistleblower for the JFK assassination, wrote The Secret Team, and he's like supposed to be Mr. X in JFK. Like that's the template that they used was L. Fletcher Prudy, for people who don't know. Victor Marchetti is interesting because he wrote the Cult of Intelligence. So Dulles, who starts MK Ultra, writes The Craft of Intelligence and publishes it right before the JFK assassination. And then Victor Marchetti, for some reason, he's not one of the CIA kind of whistleblowers who had to leave the country. There was a couple other ones whose names I can't remember, but him and Stockwell were bitching about the CIA, but for some reason the CIA didn't seem to go after him. But there was another guy who started, I can't remember his name offhand, but he had to flee to Cuba. Then to John Marks and George O'Toole. I don't even know who George O'Toole is, but
was Fletcher Prouty the guy that wrote War is a Racket?
No, that is
okay. I'm confusing him.
No, War is a Racket is from the 30s. Prudy is more of like a 60s guy.
That's Smedley Butler.
Right. Smedley Butler, right.
Good.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Just real interesting is that there's a direct reference to that very important 1961 to 63 experiment, right, which was obedience to authority. The same guy that came up with this idea of 6 degrees of separation, the network theory. So the obedience to authority, of course, is where people are electrocuting, other Stanley Milgram. So you're basically where you're giving that you're electrocuting people. And they, as far as they know, they're killing them, right? Because they're telling them, okay, keep electrocuting them. So anyways. Oh no, Grok is back.
Yeah, he's back. The art, I've heard people say that the Milgram experiments was financed through MK Ultra funds. It was washed. So I think that, I don't know if that's been confirmed, but somebody made that allegation, which is interesting. So that makes sense. I
mean, that totally would make sense.
100% makes sense. Anybody else want to read? I will read. I'm not afraid of it, but anybody else want to do it?
I'll go. I don't care.
Okay, go. Yeah.
Okay. The father of Grok the Clown, having had his legs broken in 8 places by his father for professional reasons, broke Grok's legs in 8 places to be certain that the child would grow up walking grotesquely, so as to ensure his eminence as a clown.
Just one quick thing is that this Grok the Clown, of course, we saw last show, is very real, considered the world's greatest clown. This is not true.
Yes.
Right? Absolutely.
Grok was an acrobat. right?
Yeah. So it's kind of odd that he's putting that in there.
Mm.
And there is one thing is Astavakra, who's a Hindu, sort of a Hindu saint considered. Astavakra had his body broken in 8 places. Astavakra means eight,
Wow.
eight, gamut, like arm, leg, foot, whatever. So that's it.
Wow.
This a relation to Astavakra for some connection because he did have his body broken in 8 places. So
Wow.
Astavakra, Asta means 8, as I said. So.
Thank you. That's great. I'm gonna look that up
Vakra
after.
means twisted. So eight distortions or deformities or whatever. So
Right. Intentional deformities, right? Yeah. Okay. The act that brought much pain and indignity forever, but Grok's father reasoned, was there not a wholly justifiable element involved? Was not the clowning tradition immortally enhanced by those unnatural legs? As demonstrated inescapably by Walter Bowart in this book, our father, who art in the American Secret Police, has endowed hundreds of scientists at American universities to unravel methods of fracturing American minds. That this research in so many great halls of learning has exceeded a cost of untold secret millions of dollars, the only yardstick remaining by which we are willing to measure anything, indicates that this Grockian entertainment being produced by our secret police is a matter of ambitious policy rather than the happenstance of cloak and dagger adventure.
That should be like cut and pasted over like every conspiracy researchers thing. Like it's a matter of policy, guys. Incredible stuff, man.
In this, go
sorry,
ahead.
In Reptilian, of course, you have again Robert Heinlein, Stranger in a Strange Land, right?
Great book.
But very, very important
Grok.
figure, right? And Grok, and then of course the new AI, right?
Yeah.
Grok. So, anyways,
in this book, Walter Bowart has proven each step of this official terminal government anarchy, even though that appears to be a contradiction in terms. To alter and control human minds is the ultimate anarchy.
That's for you, Sean.
Yeah, right. Just grinding my gears. Okay. To alter and control human minds is the ultimate anarchy, which actually it's the opposite. So if we control our own minds, there is no chaos. There's order that arises automatically because everybody's ordering themselves. But we don't need to go down that rabbit hole. So back to what I'm reading. What is offered by official apologists as a tribute to the needs of daring do by romantic spies are acts of hatred and sadism against all people, and an insane and degraded determination to extirpate conscience from society.
These are great paragraphs, man. They're amazing.
Well, that is the process of satanification is to take away the conscience. Like, what do they do at the Bohemian Grove? They burn their care. They immolate it to Moloch. Like, we don't care about our children. We can be satanic. We can do the evil. It's approving. Yes, I'll give my child to be, his genitals be chopped up. And yes, I'll do what the guy said. I will wear a mask. And okay, yeah, I'll take that injection. Like, it's all okay. If you don't have an understanding of what the results of your actions and how it will do harm to others, then it's in effect removing your conscience. And then you will do whatever you're told. This is really sick. I mean, it's...
And also, though, that with the loss of conscience, still you can be absolutely controlled, but you've lost your way out, right? So they're blocking
point.
you from that sort of access to, you could say, higher spiritual truth or, potentiality. Because as long as you don't, at a certain point, you don't go all the way, right? As long as you resist, you still have autonomy. Even if you physically die, you still have your autonomy. If your conscience is gone, and you engage in this evil, then you are truly lost, and there may be no way to break the control.
That's how they seal you into their hierarchy of power forever. Like, once you've broken that, and like the people that do the blackmail to get up in the higher levels, that are blackmailed by Cohn and the rest, like, they are removing their conscience and then abusing the small child or whatever they're doing, it's evidence of that. And then that's taped. And then that, is a control factor. It's literally, it's all there. And what does Epstein do for a living? Before he killed himself, in quotes. But this is government. And what is government? It's obedience to slavery. Obedience to being slave, and obedience to the higher imagined authority. And that imagination of authority is the illusion. Is this the whole structure of all the the sacred orders and the stupid oaths and stuff? That's all just putting you under the illusion that this is a real thing, and I have to be, I have to do what it says. It's like really sad. It's the loss of humanity. Go ahead.
It's the theme in this intro. I think it's important, but you always say like government, right? Govern the mind. So
yes, to control minds. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, I just want to aside to say that Condon is such a careful writer, and so much interconnection, right, of all the terms, and very, carefully. Every word is carefully chosen. So there's a whole. What I'm saying is that there's just from beyond the sort of factual import, there's all kinds of different layers of meaning that are coming through this. So he's anyways.
Right. He's probably in the orders. He's probably using like Twilight language for other types of.
He knows all the critical numerology,
Right. Exactly.
Before the internet or somebody told him, so that's like an indicator that he's been exposed somehow, whether through letters or through the Order of Jesters, or I don't know, Mason, right. Something. He's met somebody somewhere.
Right. Yeah, maybe the Order of the Golden Fleece or whatever. Anyway, Walter Boart underwent a long and expensive process to assemble the hard facts which comprise this book. Each document attesting to secret police intent had to be ferreted out by government archives. Ferreted out of government archives by badgering persistence until page by page the information was released to him by his right under the Freedom of Information Act. The essence of that law seems to be that one need only write away to a federal agency for information about the general areas in which the citizen is interested. Not so. Walter Boart needed to expend large sums of money to employ researchers in Washington and elsewhere in order to discover the precise name, number, and description of contents of each document, toward which he was groping through black streams of informational darkness. Without this, it would have been impossible to apply for the transfer of copies of these documents to himself for this book. He had to comb the United States for people from many walks of life who knew, vaguely remembered, or suspected that they had been under the mind control of secret police and military agencies. Then had to backtrack again with information gleaned from them to labyrinthine research among thousands of federal archives. Please keep fearfully in mind that the astonishing information published in this seminal work of investigative reporting concerns avenues taken to decision and execution by our. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everybody. I should have muted that. I'm sorry. Please keep fearfully in mind that the astonishing information published in this seminal work of investigative reporting concerning avenues taken to decision and execution by our secret police to fracture or dissolve human minds, then to operate those minds as a small boy might operate a yo-yo, for purposes of counterintelligence, military efficiency, and the destruction of democratic institutions, was drawn directly from federal records and from official laboratory archives of the highest educational purpose, as well as from the reviving memories of those who had already undergone the dehumanizing process.
So it kind of ties back into the Manchurian Candidate movie, right? So Yen Lo is talking about all those documents, the highest kind of academic workings of studying the mind. And then the people who've gone through the dehumanizing process are rediscovering what happened to them, right? So I think that that's what Bowart's trying to relate to the reader right here in this introduction as well.
Yeah, dehumanizing is one of the biggest pieces of trauma-based mind control. Like they break you down where you don't even think you're a person anymore sometimes. And then like the Ewan Cameron stuff with the de-patterning and stuff, that it's a very good word chosen there, right there.
Just one quick thing is like, his use of language again, very sort of poetic or complex or literary, but avenues concerning avenues taken to decision and execution. So these avenues, these also can tie into that the different squares, right, of the multiple personalities that are fractured using the Sephiroth, the Tree of Life organization principle, right, that came out, for the different plan multiples. So just throwing that out there.
Program multiples and the internal structures, and dehumanizing is important if you're going to demonize these people, or if you're going to implant cult loyal altars which keep the structure intact. It goes very deep, and dehumanizing is integral to the process. So I'll continue here. The prostitution of the mind by our secret police preceded the murder of the mind. To attain the advanced techniques now available to magnetic and attractive political personalities, Trump may come to mind, it was necessary to turn out the laboratories of science as a pimp turns out his heartless whores upon the winter streets. Our hallowed educators, Army and Navy and Air Force commanders and personnel, the beloved medical profession, august and inspiring temples of the law, our esteemed statesmen, and all Americans living and dead. Each one of those groups is involved in the sorry guys,
Is that word
membering?
Dismembering. I don't even know what that word is.
It's spelled
I think
wrong.
It's the typo.
Dismembering of the mind.
No. So it could be
dismembering. I don't know. I've never heard that word.
It could be just like you've dismembered the body. This is the mind, right?
Right, but it's just spelled wrong.
Dismembering.
Yeah, look that up.
I'm looking it up too.
Okay, thank you
guys. Men. Maybe he's just throwing us for a loop.
I think I know I'm good at reading, but then I come across a word like that. But anyway, so I'm going to continue.
It's a misspelling.
Okay.
I couldn't find that word.
Okay, so is involved in the dismembering of the mind. Taxes and the collective conscience make the urination of the secret police upon the human mind possible. Wow. Man. This is like makes me think of like all the guys, the musicians that pee on people. Like, okay, brainwashing by this urination on our minds per se is no news to any of us. Controlled assassins are not known to us only through fiction. Advertising assaults on behalf of poisonous materials to induce us successfully to buy and consume are early on bastions of mind control. Just like what George W. Bush said, they're not going to defeat us in 9/11. We'll go out there and purchase Black Friday goods for Christmas, go out there and spend money. It was really, that's what, that's how we were combating the terrorists.
Right. You got to catapult the propaganda.
Yeah, I love that. That was the best quote.
Just openly admits to so much stuff and laughs about it. It's like,
oh yeah, recently he actually said, he was talking about how wrong it is for Putin to go and invade another country, but he misspoke and he said Iraq instead of Ukraine, and then he laughed and he was like,
it's so self-deprecating.
Yeah, right. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to keep reading here. Not anyone needs theologians to answer the question, where does the soul live? We know the soul lives in the mind because the soul is the mind in all of its unfathomably intricate individual conditioning. It is the mind of intent, of hope, of purpose, of achievement by the spirit, beyond achievement by physical action. When Grok's father broke his son's legs in 8 places, there may have been alarm on the one hand that a man could do such calamitous things to his son, but on the other hand, the same people responded to Grok's genius, to which those hopelessly deformed legs had contributed, and roared with laughter. That was the normal reaction when we were the audience and Crazy Legs Grok was the clown. But Walter Boart demonstrates to us in this book that we have become Grok. We are the spinning, hobbling, waddling clowns in the eyes of our vividly delineated secret police. Holy crap.
Great sentences, man.
Oh my God. Oh no. Can you hear the outcry? Oh yes, writes Walter Boart in this fearful record of you now hold in your hands. Apologists rush in, hired for all such occasions from everywhere by the secret government, crying out, "You are as usual, like all of our exaggerating kind, making a mountain out of a molehill." While it may or may not be true that our secret police occasionally swing the sledgehammer on our minds, it is, or is not, being done as a patriotic act to protect our beloved people. They reel backward, hands clutching, chests on the full realization seems to hit them. My God, Boart cannot believe that our government of the people, by the people, and for the people would use such loathsome forces against citizens. If such research were done, or was not done, then it would be for purely abstract reasons, for the expansion of human knowledge. Walter Boart.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
Hold on just a sec. It's just people's incredulity is like what prevents them from understanding this stuff. They just wouldn't believe it's real. That's why certain people are like, yeah, it was a failed project and they just wrapped it up in 1970. I'm like,
where did it fail?
Yeah, really. No, this
worked.
is a triumph. This is a triumphal success. Have you looked around? Have you looked at some of these people who've undergone massive personality change in public or from propaganda or whatever? Like, this is a tremendous success, blazing success.
Yeah. And we are, in the age, right, of the whatever the COVID is a great example, and other freakouts. BLM, it's a great example. These collective insanities that we can see right here, and even we talked about last show about the mass shootings. They're just another at a country club, Nassau Country Club, right? Mass shooting just was yesterday. So this is, we're in this space where, from the individual, vectors, right? These individual people, small collectives, because a little bit of a tangent here, but like in the 60s, you have the sort of the MK Ultra looking at some, the mass movement stuff. Then what do we have in the 70s? The era of cults and serial killers. So there weren't many cults in the 60s, but there were tons in the 70s, all over the place, right? And now from the cult laboratory to the mass society itself. So I think we're witnessing it, and these things, and what is it? I forget, is it Goebbels or whatever, but the really big lies, you don't, what is it? The truth is so unbearable that people just refuse to believe it. It doesn't, they just can't believe it.
Right. That's one of the reasons why satanic ritual abuse is so gross. And like, people hear those stories and they're just like, can't be true. But nobody would do that. Why? But I wanted to say that this recent murder of Charlie Kirk is a hobbling of our minds. And now people that love free speech are all saying, no more free speech. Yeah, get them, and the whole BLM thing kind of hobbled us into, now we want Trump to go in there and clean up Chicago, and the whole hobbling of Germany with Weimar and the debaucherous, all of a sudden everybody, oh, we need Hitler. And so it's this like learned helplessness and breaking of our will and thinking that we need someone else to come and fix it, like that causes us to vote. It's like more like, oh, all I can do is go in the streets and yell. And remember the Occupy movement, everybody really loved that in the beginning, but then it went on and on and on. And then months and months, later, the cops go and clean up the streets, and nobody cares. They're like, yeah, we're glad, get them out of here. We're sick of those assholes. Excuse my language, but this is how it's done. They break our mind. They hobble us first, and that trauma of the hobbling, of the breaking of our bones in 8 places, makes us total slaves. And now the genius that was created out of that, the elite power elite can wield us like puppets. I mean, we see it every day. It's really
so true. Occupy never came to anything, too. It was just
Yeah.
a big outlet for people's frustration with no change. The
Yeah.
bankers got away with 25 trillion or something.
They're still getting away with it.
Yeah. But look at this is the thing, the left, right? So, I said my grandfather was a very prominent socialist in California. He personally he stopped Rockefeller from drilling in Long Beach Harbor personally. Like, he went against this whole mafia thing. So he was a very, in that sense, he was a high school physics teacher, but you could see that kind of quote unquote left, right? And then you can see the battle for Seattle, and then the Occupy, that was kind of the end, right? As that got infiltrated and just fell apart. And now it's a matter of course where you have, like, just look all over social media, kill them. Let's murder people that we don't agree with. This is our thing. Let's murder them, and let's, cut their balls off just because I want to cut my balls off. Because I should have been a woman.
I mean, it's the same as like after 9/11, like good friends of mine, like, my boss and stuff, they were like, oh, we should just nuke them. Just nuke the whole desert, turn it to glass. Like, whoa. And I was like surprised then. And now, with the COVID thing, they're like, oh, you should wear a mask. But now they're like, you should die. You say bad things, die. Whoa. Like, I mean, it's really, you're right, Hans.
But wear a mask, you should die, so people think that.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, okay.
Like,
so
we've just gotten used to the public insanity. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, we're in really crazy psychological times where, like, people are celebrating Charlie Kirk getting shot in the head.
It's easy to fall into that too. I mean, they get the programming with the Twitter and stuff, and like, I believe the same thing. Like, it's just like, it's giving them their mind, like, straight up.
It's almost like you and Cameron just driving 250,000 phrases into your brain. It's almost like they learn that, and these people are just getting hammered with propaganda, like literally just shot right into their head. How could they think anything different?
That's and what they related. Yeah. They related to the dopamine fix too. So like, you must see Twitter. I need Twitter because you're addicted to it. Like
Facebook, Instagram,
Facebook,
TikTok, all of them. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And then you look at Nepal government like said, okay, no more YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all those X, no more. And then the people rioted like way worse than the battle in Seattle. And they burned the building. They burned the parliament. They like reelected a new leader with Telegram, or was it was Discord. They used Discord to elect a leader. It's so next level. Like, who owns those companies, right? Who's making the people revolt like that, right? And who is this new leader that they put in there? Like, what is actually happening? People can remember all of like the Arab Spring and these fomented movements that are like changing governments, and we are in a very shifting times right now where everybody's grabbing for power. And who was making those people, like, it started as like they were protesting, we want Facebook, and then by the end they're like burning down the buildings of parliament, and they're like, no more government. Like, my anarchist heart is like, go get them, guys, but still, like, they are being manipulated to do so, like, obviously.
Yeah. And just briefly, this is actual principle of entrainment and sympathetic resonance, okay, which are, again, you have properties of any vibrating body. You have, of course, electromagnetic frequency. etc. But you also have the sympathetic entrainment or phase locking of people having emotional breakdowns, or just at a show, concert, suddenly the women are taking their tops off, then other women are going to take their tops off, right? So it's you don't only need, I think the percentage is like 12 to 18%. If you plant people in a football stadium doing a certain behavior, you can get the whole stadium doing it. And remember, we did the stuff on Trump derangement syndrome, William, and that's a great example. It's not, and you could, even that whole thing could have been set up. You just get a couple of actors to do these freakouts. Suddenly, everybody's freaking out, right? You know what I mean? So,
that's expected behavior, right? Just like you said, you're absolutely right. It's normal for them to go in public and have freakouts. Like, that's acceptable because everybody else is doing it.
And everybody's sheep too. Like, they follow what the others are doing.
It's the Ashes experiment. So you have the Milgram experiment, and the Ash is the one where the guy walks into a room and 5 other people said, "This is the longest line." And he's like, "Sure is." "Yeah, boss," because he's just going to go along to get along, right? So these are all these experiments. Stanford prison experiment. All these things are super important. All kind of take place around the same time, if I remember correct.
This is all early 60s, or right?
Yeah.
Even before the JFK assassination. But for example, the obedience to authority was the original article, first experiments done in 61, released right after the JFK assassination. This was released, as a published paper, but it put into mass market paperback in the early 70s. So a lot of these things were put also in, just want to people grasp this, like some of these modelings of the human behavior, like Lord of the Flies, right? This is being also an imposed model. Oh, science says that people will just go ahead and kill other people. To what extent are these experiments being steered? But when you take that input in and say, oh, this is the way people really are, this gives also a permission. It also is sort of like a potential collective manifestational energy. Oh, this is the way people are. This is what's going to happen. Da, 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 da. I'm so afraid, or people are just going to turn into animals. People are, right? So
totally, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
The learned helplessness, and then I must be satanic like them. Like, I must defeat my neighbor because there's not enough stuff out there. Like, the ideas that they give us, the signals of, like, the law of the jungle is the only real law, where natural law isn't real, and they keep pushing, to the point where Alex Jones is like, oh, I'll eat my neighbors. You're like, what? And people go to him to, like, for information and stuff.
Human barbecue. Let's have a illegal migrant worker barbecue.
Yeah, dude, right. And that's what I'm reading in, like, Kurt Barker's Cannibalism, Blood Drinking and High Depth Satanism. Like, that's what I'm reading over there. And then I see it on Alex Jones talking like that. I'm like, whoa. And that's the soup that they're putting us in. And like, oh, well, if Alex thinks like that, I can think like that too. And, oh, well, it must be, I have to go kill my neighbors. And then they watch these movies that are like, post-apocalypse, everybody's killing each other for, like Mad Max type, whatever. It's, you got to fight, you got to kill. Like, how else are you going to do it? Like, where does food come from? Nobody knows. Just got to steal it from others.
Sorry to interrupt, Sean, but that's very important because cannibalism is absolutely right. This is one thing that you can look at down the list of all these different television shows, of even like the vampire stuff being like fuzzy, vampires are super cool. Well, vampirism is a type of cannibalism, right? But the way that cannibalism is being pushed and normalized and even made cool, right? And then if you look at the, Maria Abramovich stuff, and then look at the famous party, with all the cake, the human body cake. So that is also a signal, right? Releasing those photos, right? Those photos being in the public mind. So this is inducting, oh, maybe I should try this. Maybe it's cool to be a cannibal. Oh, look, they're doing it. I mean, and this is, you talk about loss of conscience. I mean, sorry, I'm going to go throw up. Just give me a second.
Yeah, really, dude. Whoa. But that's real. I mean, it is real. And that's where they're pissing on our minds so far, where we're like considering cannibalism is okay, and the domination of others. Like, what to dominate someone completely is to kill and eat them. I mean, I don't think you can get any more dominating than that. Like, it's really, that is the pinnacle of the psychopathic mind, to do that to others, so that I am the god. Look, I can, and that's what the Sphinx is like, the human face on the king of the food chain. You know what I mean? Like, I will eat you. Like, it's really sick. And they're trying to bring that out again and make that allowed again, so that they can just have it openly be, that's our new religion.
Well, also just in that sense, this is really a horrible thing. I mean, you might feel with that guy in Germany, right? He put out ads, who wants to be eaten? And he ate the guy and filmed it. I mean, and this is like,
it was allowed, right? It was like legal.
No, he ended up.
Oh, okay.
He
I
got
because
arrested.
consented. All right.
But I mean, technically, the guy did consent. But I mean, he filmed all that stuff. He filmed it, and the guy. Yeah. I mean, and these people were very successful with very good careers, lots of money. These were not, if people walking around Philadelphia like the zombie people, these are people with highly successful members of society. And there's other, I think, okay, we'll just leave that there, but that's
a little peek. That's a little peek at it, right? I mean, that's perfect. Like, it's real, like, it's the elite people. It's the one that wear the masks on the red carpet. Those are the ones that are really eating us. They are feeding on us and pissing on our brains. I can continue if you'd like me to go. Here.
Yeah, it's crazy. There was, it's probably before your time, Sean, but there was this movie that came out in 1989 that comes to mind. It's called The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover. And it was
downloaded that. I think.
It was about cannibalism and stuff like that. But people were like, "This is so scandalous and this is so horrible." But it's kind of like, feeding on other people. That's kind of the theme.
Yeah. But that was considered like, it was probably this great art film.
Right. Just like Lolita.
Right? I did. I think I saw it when I was a kid. I remember seeing it. Oh, this is this. And I kind of like, I tuned it out. But that's the thing. Like, I probably was in high school.
It was in art movie theaters at the time.
Yeah. But and just remembering that, bringing that up, William, is like, it's one of those things where this movie was really, I forget why or who I watched with, but I did kind of like, kind of go block it out. Like, I didn't really want to think what it was
because it's trauma, dude. Yeah,
it's trauma.
Yeah. Your brain is like, no, I don't want that. Okay, all right. Here, I'm gonna keep going. Walter Boart's book is also a freezing vision of the mutations of the aspirations of science, scientists, educators, and the leaders. The great men, having stumbled upon, please click at the next page. Having stumbled upon the possibility of controlling the human mind, might well have withheld this knowledge from the secret police and brought it forward for all to share. Would you not say? If the means are at hand actually to enter and control the mind, not through the far-off smoke signals of psychiatry and psychoanalysis, can we conceive of what might be found in terms of medical triumphs, the conquests of pain and of group hatreds, and mental energy released by unraveling the Gordian knots of mental perplexity to make one straight laser line that might then pierce the doubts and fears which beset each one of us? In terms of education, light years ahead of the educational means we presently employ. In basic and advanced learning of cultures, languages, and skills, in short, understanding each other across the face of the world, this development of mind control makes the invention of movable type seem like a primordial grunt from the shadows of a rainforest lost in time.
He understood it, man. He understood it. Just to repeat that, understanding, what is it? Presently, advanced learning of culture, language, each other. In short, understanding each other across the face of the world, this development of mind control makes the invention of movable type seem like a primordial grunt from the shadows of a rainforest lost in time. Like, wow.
So yeah, the printed book and how it has like taught us so much and expanded our understanding of the world is just a primordial grunt. Right?
The knowledge of mind control. Wow.
And what's fascinating is this not the means are at hand to enter and control the mind, not through the far off smoke signals of psychiatry and social and psychoanalysis, right? So, and that's one of the things, looking into this, like say some of the cybernetic theories, so a lot of this neuroscience research, like they're not, a lot of times they're not looking how to heal, they're looking how to break. But the application of this, like the whole self-help movement, which also came about in the 70s as part of the group collective conditioning, was beginning with the JFK mass trauma to the Altamont, end of the peace and love flower power era, then moving from lots of cults to the me first, Wayne Dyer, what is it, the ECT, all these different types of, self-help, me generation, da da da. All this stuff just misdirected the power of now. It's like the power of my, it's power of BS. It's the power of bullshit.
Yeah.
You're not going to get anything out of this crap. Sorry. It may sound good on a page. You may get a little bit of a state of mind, right? You may go through some of these techniques. Oh, I feel better. It's not going to be lasting because these are deliberate cul-de-sacs, right? They're deliberate cul-de-sacs. And so the actual knowledge, which may not even be that complex, is hidden, right? It's occulted. It's mysterious but it's used, it's very easy to mislead with a small little 2%, 1%, even half a percentage of disinformation can warp an entire transmission and make everything else poisonous.
Wow. That's holy crap. And they own the TVs and the radios and all that. Anyway, and we, Hans, you and I did a show, performance, and they had, you're talking about Altamont, and we kind of related that to Altamont, and the Mick Jagger was singing, or he was talking about Hazi Basan, like the assassins and the leader. What's his name?
Hassan El Saab or something.
Hassani Sabah.
Hassani Sabah.
Ismaili, the Ismaili
Right.
sect of Shia Islam. Yeah.
And he was like the first real mind control artist, and that's like their hero. He can make people jump to their death, and even in like today's movies, they got Mad Max. I mentioned earlier, the new Mad Max movies has this guy that says, hey, everybody, all his soldiers, they all get ready to jump. And he's like, you, and the guy's like, yay. And he jumps to his death. And then he's like, see the power I have? You can't fight me because I have all these people under my control. It's like total proof.
Yeah, wow. Well, that was another thing that actually happened in real world. I can't remember which emperor it was. I think it was Augustus, to he did it for kicks. He would have people on the cliffs of Capri and he'd just tell them to jump and they'd jump. The levels of depravity of that guy were off the charts.
Just goes to
that's
show
like
what
a
these
real
elite
thing.
psychopaths can do,
Well, the term kowtowing, right? You kowtow. This is actually a Chinese term, right? So what it actually comes from, the actual meaning of kowtowing, you'd go before the emperor. You just keep banging your head until your skull is bleeding. Just smashing your head out. You see the emperor. Dang. People just smashing their heads on the ground. That's what kowtow meant. You go and kowtow to the emperor until he tells you to stop smashing your head on the ground. You keep doing it. And that's the actual meaning. And this was an actual practice under the, I don't know how many dynasties this ran in China, but that's where the word comes from.
Jesus, dude. They're hobbling their minds. They're like smashing their brains. Like, wow.
It's incredible. And for people who don't know, that Hassan El Saab or whatever, that's where we get the word assassin. Hashashin is now assassin. So all that stuff comes all the way to the present.
And the name came from hashishin, like someone who eats hashish in large quantities. And that's what he did. He put people under a spell with large amounts of hashish in their food. And then they would wake up and you'd have this heaven place where all these nymphs and stuff would all the virgins, the 72 virgins and stuff, these nymphs would fornicate with them, and there'd be rivers of milk and honey and all this stuff. And then they'd pass out there from getting their fill. And then they'd wake up again in Hassani Sabah's court. And he's like, you just went to heaven. I have the power to bring you there. It's the ultimate mind control of the afterlife, being rewarded in the afterlife for doing what that's what religion does. That's what, and people do the craziest things for that.
as a matter of interest, just because it's something I was sort of interested in for probably, I mean, actually many years. Originally through what? Through through Hakim Bey, right? Who also was he wrote the temporary autonomous zone, right? And he's connected with the Burning Man. Hakim Bey, who actually was, turns out was a real life pedophile. That's a what do you call it? A pen name, but the
OTO member too,
yeah,
if I remember correctly.
but Hassan,
Anyway.
the son of Hassan the second, right? His son, Hassan the Saba II, he declared nothing is real, everything is permitted. And he actually ended up being assassinated, but this was nothing is real, everything is permitted. He broke the Ramadan drinking wine, right? You don't need to pray anymore. The day of judgment has already happened. We're already in paradise. There's no more rules. You can do whatever you want. He did get assassinated, but that was, very interesting. Like, it just
Removal of conscience, right?
yeah, but this was like, think about, you got to go back in time. This is radical. This is very strict Islam, man. I mean, and this guy's like, oh no, you can just, the Qiyamah. Qiyamah means the resurrection, the day of judgment. The Qiyamah has happened. Time is no longer flowing. Anything you experience about the time around you is illusory. We've gone into the next dimension. Do what thou wilt, right? Nothing is real.
Right.
Everything is permitted. And this became a model. William S. Burroughs, Hakim Bey, et cetera, Aleister Crowley, et cetera.
Right. And putting that solipsism on people is the perfect way to control them completely, because then you can dictate what reality is, and then if I'm the only one and my actions don't do anything, then you have completely satanic society, people saying go kill because you don't like gays or whatever, people chopping their parts and going shooting up schools and stuff. That's what happens when everything is permitted and time doesn't exist anymore. They're under these illusions that I don't know, some of them, and a lot of them are on medications too. So the suicidal ideations and homicidal ideations are symptoms, and those pharmaceuticals are created by the same satanic forces that are running these. I mean, it's sick. It's all one group,
It just shows the mind controls pervasive. It's everywhere in our mind, in our society, whether it's the big pharma or defense or the intelligence or the government. It's all over. They're all using techniques of deception and fear and all this stuff.
They're pissing on our brains.
They are. They've turned us into grok.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just shows we're not even through this thing yet, this intro. It shows how profound Condon was. He was smart. He was way ahead of his time. There's a reason why we don't get exposed to these ideas. Because it's the opposite of brainwashing. It's the scales come from your eyes, like Paul on the road after his road to Damascus or something like that. We're oh gosh, it really is everywhere. Everybody's lying.
Yeah, and once you recognize that, you don't go back into the toothpaste tube. You can't go back to the illusion. It's so this is so important that it was published.
Totally right.
He did all that work.
Just one point though, he does say be fearfully aware. I think this is a very important thing to watch out for, because the level, as the body's biological response mechanism, just like stress, right? If you're in stress, your higher thought processes, it's going to just pull, you don't need higher processes if you're being chased by a tribe of cannibalistic monkey, monkey, whatever, people.
The apes from the beginning of 2001 with a bone in their hand.
But so the fear with the thing is the fear for what is not correct, by creating this installation of fear as the basis of the whole social. This is another fulcrum or lever of control, right? So to be aware of it, but not. I think it's, again, just throwing that out there because I don't want people to.
Very well said. That fear is what drives it, as opposed to love. Real authority is I love my mom and dad, so I'll do what they want. But the imposed authority of the governments and all that is fear. Do what we say or we kill you. It's always been that way. So it's really interesting. I mean, that is the ultimate mind control. is so I'm gonna get through this last piece. What has been achieved by the secret police in relation to mind control is scrupulously set down in Walter Bowart's extraordinary book. The question the book puts is this: do you wish this immeasurably important technique to remain as a weapon to be used against you and your children by what Bowart calls the cryptocracy? Or do you wish to use it as a universal key to unlock 1,000 new chances that your children will not be murdered in future wars? That's an easy answer right there, I think. Moving on. In an epigraph to this book, Zbigniew Brzezinski measures the political probabilities of mind control use when he says, exploiting the latest communications techniques to manipulate emotion and control reason. Today, our secret police and our military establishment have demonstrated in Vietnam and elsewhere, examined by Bowart herein, the powers to create assassins out of our children. And that's what Full Metal Jacket was about. Okay, sorry. The expansion of these powers, which are able to turn young men and women into murderous criminals at will, goes on unchecked by the oft-called investigative press, by moral leaders at the bar and in the pulpits, in high government, and on campuses. Yet the people they call the public have long suspected that it has become government policy to control minds. It's like what William said earlier, government means control mind. So it only makes sense, obviously. These people are finally getting it. So if there is general information abroad on this subject, then consider that which must be at the disposal 01 congressional.
I think it's supposed to be of, but
okay, yeah, another typo. At the disposal of congressional investigating committees as they bugle their determination to control the powers of darkness within our secret police. Zombie is a quaint, old-fashioned folklore word, but its meaning becomes obscene when our children's minds are being controlled by any one of dozens of federal secret police agencies. And a zombie is a golem walking without a will of its own, doing the will of the controller. Okay, getting back to it. Have government agencies perfected methods sustained by the taxpayers to control the minds of the people who shot the Kennedys, Martin Luther King, and Orlando Letelier, the former Chilean economist and diplomat? Were the assassins programmed to forget they did it, or were they programmed to do it? We may never know, for they stand bewildered, idiotically grinning for the cameras. Have the technicians developed a model giant economy-sized government assassin which can easily be turned out by the thousands?
Good question.
Probably, right? The murders of a few hundred humans by a few hundred other humans is commonplace enough, but for the flavor of horror and terror, of endless nightmare rampant upon a landscape of what was once American democracy, consider this expansion of the Brzezinski's epigraph, which cannot be repeated often enough. In quotes from the Brzezinski piece here. In the technotronic society, the trend would seem to be toward the aggregation of the individual support of millions of uncoordinated citizens, easily within the reach of magnetic and attractive personalities, effectively exploiting the latest communications techniques to manipulate emotion and control reason. I mean, wasn't that Epstein part one? Didn't they have all the social media people there with their folders all taking pictures? Like, yeah. These attractive personalities effectively exploiting the latest communications.
The most and then on the cover it said the most transparent presidency in history or something like that. Like a freaking
Wolf in
mantra
sheep's
or
clothing,
something.
the
Yeah.
opposite.
Oh,
Yeah.
get this, like that whole thing, like there was a whole squad there. There's intel people all over that in the White House room. There's 20 of these very influential social media libs of TikTok and all these other people. And there's this one girl, she's like on board with like we've divulged everything. She then got hired over at Ben Shapiro's outfit. Like
Ugh.
she went from there straight to the Daily Wire, and I was like, "You just got your ticket punched, honey."
Yeah,
Pass
you
me
just
that
gotta
bloody
wear down them
microphone.
heels now.
I want that bloody microphone, man.
Yeah.
that's
Oh
it.
yeah, you do. Oh yeah, you do.
The bloody
Sick.
microphone.
Dude.
That was like dude. It's like, Ben, go do some at least method acting or get some kind of acting training. That was
Yeah.
like the most passionless. I mean,
So gross.
As you said that you said that video clip for him, like the writing. Come on, guys. I mean, at least the JFK, that's got a pretty good script to it. You know, MLK, it's a pretty good script. RFK, that's a good script. 9/11 had a pretty good script. Well, not as good, but now the writing is really kind of going. Well, just like Hollywood, man, they just keep retreading stuff. Because these are actually, I would say, they're actually scripts that are employed, and they're operating as the scripting of this. The word aggregate, right? The aggregate groups, which is what the we're looking at the hypnosis stuff. This idea, and this is some of the very important work like Kurt Lewin, the psychological topology, starting with the OSS, World War II, also with Bateson, Margaret Mead, all these other people were working at this idea of creating these aggregate groups, right? Aggregation. So and then how to create these types of center to periphery control vectors, right? So the attractive and magnetic personalities. How do you use this to, so you create this mass control, right? And it gets a different type of field, anyways. So, but that's important to see that I think we are in a pretty advanced stage of these techniques and technologies being deployed, which I think would not have necessarily worked 20 years ago. What's going on now? I don't think.
I think the transgender thing is like a rubbing our nose in it, like showing it's almost like an occult mockery, and they're laughing with each other. Look, we can get them to do this now.
Right. I think you're right. I think that a lot of this stuff is like, how far can we get these people to go? Can we push them, nudge them into committing acts against their own interest, acts against their own morality? Can we destroy them? And I think they're very sick people, very smart and very sick people beyond that. It's interesting because Cass Sunstein, like, he went through a traditional education, got his law degree, and then he went into a deep, like, study of behavioral psychology. And I think he understood these things. And he's there with his wife, Samantha Power, and they're behind all the stuff that's been told to us about the Ukraine war, which is totally crazy, a total waste of $300 billion. You have to mind control people to get them to think spending $300 billion on somebody else's border issue is a good idea. Like, it's so royally stupid and so deranged that the only way you could get the public to get on board with that is just through this is what he says, the control of their reason, because it's not reasonable. It's so dumb. Like, I mean, on the face of it, who cares? Why don't they figure it out themselves? Why are we involved?
Right.
It's all fake. I mean,
Right.
Zelensky's a plant and all that. I mean, it's all through propaganda and mind control. This subject is the most important subject should be in the minds of all Americans right now. What we're talking about.
The Gaza thing. I mean, for people that I work with, these are like, Republicans from Ohio that are, they're Protestant. They go to church every week. They think they're good people. And then I say, oh, Israel is a fiction and they're killing all those people. It's horrendous and evil. And they just respond to me, yeah, well, they shouldn't be in their land. It's, it's written in the book. They own that land and they're allowed to go kill. And so they have no moral connection. They just sever their morality. And it's like the removal of their conscience, just because my God says this is what's happening. So F them, I'm seeing like little Palestinian girls walking around in fire. The whole frame is fire. And she's like, Ugh, like burning alive children. And my heart is like screaming for, and these people are just dead. Nope, there is no, it's their fault for living there, you know? And then you look and see the biggest group of Zionists are Christians, like what the hell? There's not even that many Jews on the earth. Like, why is this happening? And the whole world is like, yeah, okay, whatever. Just kill them. I don't mind. Starve them. It's proof that we are all totally gone like this. Ugh, sorry, I had to
We're all grokked. We've been grokked.
Astavakra. 8 places. I don't want to look that up, but William, I think what you said is very important because, and I was going to bring that up too. Okay, you can manipulate emotions, right? But if you still have reason, you still have willpower, you could say discernment, the power of distinction, you still have a chance. If you still have conscience, right? You can come back. You can return. If you've lost that or your basic foundational level of reason, this is reasonable. It's reasonable to murder children. It's reasonable to eat people for breakfast. It's reasonable to cut children's genitalia off. It's reasonable to think that we can just change our gender based on our mental process. I mean, this is reasonable. This is reasonable just to enter into a war with the guy who plays piano with his Johnson as at the helm of Ukraine. I mean, this guy is a full. I mean, but this is where, and I think this is something that. That's important to recognize too, is that some of this stuff, sometimes the information that's released is used also as part of this control type of mechanism, and it becomes another type of induction. So go back to before the war started, the videos of Zelensky playing piano with his manhood.
He's literally a clown.
He's literally a clown, and he's playing
a clown. Yeah,
he's like ding ding ding, playing the piano with his thing, and he's actually doing it. And this guy is, who's losing out, man? Ukraine, the entire generation, they're gone. I mean, the genetic.
There's 2 million people dead, guys.
They'll never come back.
People.
They'll never come back. Some of the most beautiful women in the world, and really strong ancient roots. Right. This is an entire I mean, a heritage, right? You say the genetic heritage. You can replace monuments of culture. You cannot replace the human genetic heritage.
It's gone forever.
It's gone forever, man.
And they monetize the genocide, much probably like what's going on in Gaza. So they're going to monetize it. You're going to get this beautiful Gold Coast. It's going to be paradise. Like, it's going to be haunted land. Like, I wouldn't even set foot on that land. It's so disgusting what they're doing. Like, it's really just a crime against humanity. It doesn't matter what these labels you put on it. It's a little kid, like you said, being immolated in some fire. Like, where's your conscience? It's gone. It's gone.
And they're doing that in the Holy Land. They're desecrating the Holy Land. It's an F you to God. I'm sorry, guys, but really,
this is bad. It's a really bad situation. But this mind controls all. Let's try to finish this one up, and then I'd like to just kind of put this intro into context to the film, because there's themes in here that relate to stuff we talked about with Manchurian Candidate.
And William, we're going to let you talk because we're both kind of we're like steamrolling over you. This is
great. No, I love this, man. This is great stuff, because it's the riffs is how you see things in context. You know what I mean? Like, you want to contextualize this information. I think there's really a reason why this is never talked about. Walter Bowart's book's very important, and so is Condon. Like, it should be and it is. It actually is. Like, I'll play a couple videos. Like, people are starting to talk more about the Manchurian Candidate and reference it because of our talks, at least partially, So there's like Tucker Carlson is starting to ask questions about hypnosis now and have guests on about hypnosis. And it's interesting to watch.
He's watching our show, man.
Oh, he's getting information somewhere. It's in the zeitgeist now. And it's pretty clear. And what it's happened to me in the past, while somebody a lot more the guy's super influential, man. I mean, God bless him. But somebody way more influential kind of absorbs the research and a little bit of the persona into their act. to kind of absorb. It's kind of like a competitive thing. So instead of giving somebody credit for it or reaching out or doing something like that, it's like this subtle kind of thing. Like I've seen it with, I don't want to name some of these other names, but it is, and it's an interesting to watch the phenomenon take place.
They also may have research assistants who go through.
Oh,
all
he
the
has
shows
a team,
and write it
bro.
down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just me and my dog.
I bet he has one of
If only
those
we
kind
could
of
have
like,
a team. Yeah.
yeah, he has one of those data scouring. So every time his name is mentioned in any podcast, it comes up, it goes to his team, and he tries to figure out who's saying what about him, where and why. Like all those guys at the very top, like him, they have teams that just like social media management, there's no question about it. He has investors, like people invested for his company. If somebody wants to invest $15 million in me, I'm willing to discuss it. But he's like had investors in tens of millions of dollars. So
I think he, in a certain way, though, he does. People say, okay, whatever, CIA connected for sure. But he's like probably one of the last bastions. And again, notice the term WASP, right? White Anglo-Saxon Protestant. Who made up that term? Why do we say WASP? You know what I mean? Think about that. This is an example of how ingrained these type of things through language, through that. But anyways, like that last East Coast elite, there's not much of it left, but I think this is like one of the last holdouts of people that aren't compromised. But again,
I think you're right.
If you still have a conscience, you still have access to free will and reason. But the eubulia, which is loss of will, right? People have lost their will. And once you've lost your will, and if you've lost your conscience, at least if you have some type of conscience, you have a potential to come back from no matter how far down you are. If you've lost that, if you've given it away, and you've lost your reason, you are functionally insane. And you're just a puppet, man. You're not even a human being anymore.
You're a zombie, right? Just like you said.
Wow.
Just like Howard said.
That's great. Okay. All right. One more paragraph here. The threatening state of American political leadership over the last 15 years, it's been longer now.
This is 77, right?
Yeah, pre 9/11. Geez. Okay. So over the last 15 years may seem to murmur that the magnetic and attractive personalities might rather not resist the destruction of democratic institutions by effectively exploiting these shocking gains into the control of minds. It might even be wise to consider Walter Bowart's real evidence herein than to do what we can to protect ourselves, if that proud right with the love of freedom has not been atrophied by the latest communications techniques. There is an alternative. We can all forevermore be transformed into the image of Grok the Clown. Richard Condon, Kilmogany, Ireland, the 31st of May, 1977. So May 31st, that's okay, well, that's not but 77 was a big year too for them. So anyway.
It's such a great article. It's such a great introduction, And
yeah,
the recurrent themes go back to Manchurian Candidate, which are weapon. So we talked about in the first one, or Yen Lo talking about weapons and stuff. So it's the whole idea. It's not just some kind of insight, academic insight. It's the use of a weapon and the notion of a soul. Because if you remember the very end, when Eleanor Island's talking to Raymond Shaw, it's like, I did this for the rape of your soul. Like she knows his soul's been raped, but she's going to put it to like a vengeful use. And you see that referenced here, the concepts around that reference by Condon. I think it's really important. And then the program stuff. So it's just so much information in this. I'll play, you guys mentioned the bloody microphone. I'll play this video too. Like, do you guys have anything you want to summarize this introduction at all?
I just want to say that, I mean, we pretty much we came to the conclusion in this short little podcast here that mind control is the problem. It really is the only problem. And when people's minds can be controlled, then we are slaves. And that's the opposite of freedom. Like the soul, wants freedom at all. Like
will be coming to college campuses.
To be like learned helplessness into this place where you don't want freedom anymore, and you don't care about yourself or the others around you, it is like it's hollowing you out, and then you are a golem for them, and when you meet your maker, like you're gonna have to like fess up to, like, you're gonna have to like account for giving away your free will, because we always do have it. Like, every soldier can choose not to pull the trigger. Everybody can choose to break free from their mind control, but a lot of them don't. And but it's on each one of us. We are all guilty of allowing the mind control to take hold, and then to follow that path of evil, like what Mark Passio says about mini me Satanism. Like, people don't know they're acting in a satanic fashion. They don't realize they're working against themselves and their neighbors, but they continue to, because they are under the illusion this is what's necessary. So, like, in effect, they are all satanic, but they don't even know. They go to church, just like my neighbors or my coworkers. They are satanic. They don't care that this little girl's immolated in the Holy Land. The land where their leader was massacred by evil, and they don't care.
And the actual blood relations of the ancient Hebrews are the Palestinians, not the basically Ukrainian, primarily, Khazari and Ashkenazi,
Right.
who had this incredibly crazed human sacrifice cult, right? The Khazarian Empire, and they were known as just the worst bandits on the planet. And blood ritual sacrifice was their main modus operandi, right? And this is all historical fact that's there. And no, you're absolutely right. And one last thing before we give it to William. Is that
You'll never talk again, William? Sorry.
The bloody microphone. The bloody microphone. Here you go.
You're gonna get it.
I'm passing it on. But it's the small fractional decisions that add up and aggregate, right? So it doesn't happen instantly. Okay, it can happen instantly if I want to take my brother's business, so I'm going to murder my brother and steal his wife and put the blame on my some other person. Okay, there are people that are actual criminals, and they do things like this. They probably never had a conscience to begin with, right? But for average people, you can see this progression, and I think we're witnessing just another stage in that, including people celebrating the murder of Charlie Kirk as an example exactly of this. And this can go from just being slightly selfish to being whatever it is, indulgent, to if you're now condoning murder, or you're condoning every day you condone what's happening in Gaza. This is further eroding till you get to the point where you cannot return. There's
Right.
nothing to return to.
It's a stepwise progression.
You've been grokked out.
Yeah. And then once the cult taps you on the shoulder and says, "Hey, come into this back room and see what we're doing here," and once you participate on camera, then you certainly can't go back out. Like, they got you. You know what I mean? It's like you signed the book of Satan with your blood or some crap. You know what I mean? And then if you continue to like never turn around and be good, then your soul too will be, not allowed to reincarnate or whatever happens. And, whatever happens, like not allowed into heaven or whatever. It's, you're damning yourself with all of these little, and we're like Hans says, if we have reason and if we have conscience, then we can always come back. But the erosion of conscience, the more you see it go away, the more that's your chances of coming back are being taken away too. The more you participate in the evil, like it's your mind controlling yourself at that point, and yeah. So sorry.
That's how they get you, is getting it in there. Control your that's why Condon repeats that twice. Manipulate emotion, control reason. So it's really dangerous out there. And wow, it's happening right now. Like, I think there's really an effort to control reason about everything that's happened in the Middle East. Like, hey, Iran's your bad guy. They are? How? Why is it Ukraine war happening? Like, I've been around Persians. They're wonderful people. What are we doing? You just don't want them to live in peace, or what's going on? Like, what have they done to me? I haven't done squat to me. So why would I even think about bombing them or do whatever, some kind of crazy strike? But it's really crazy, like this whole situation, because they're just bombarding the public with just nonsense. But this is interesting. I sent this to you guys, but I think that I'll show this to the audience because it's like the same verbiage as the film, as Manchurian Candidate. And this is kind of like you have a Manchurian Candidate, this guy Jay Robinson or whatever his name is, like nobody knows anything about him. The story is totally improbable on how Charlie Kirk was shot. He definitely wasn't shot with a 30-06. So anybody who tells you that is lying to you. You have to, one of the important things about these events is to actually not just see the event at the time, date, but the September 10th and see who's telling you the stories after the event that don't make any sense. Because there are influencers, there are malign influencers out there. I know some of these names, but they're clearly lying. And that's evidence of coordination. That means somebody's telling them to lie that we don't see. Yeah. So like there's definitely, they're trying to shape the narrative.
A hidden hand is.
Yeah, there's definitely a hidden hand. And a lot of these guys, and they're like, oh yeah, there's 100% tranny. There's 100% 30-06. I mean, I can bring up this. We'll listen to this. We'll listen to Alex Jones talk about this stuff. Like, it's crazy.
Oh, man. He works for Israel now.
Oh, bro.
It's like, holy
it's
crap.
so bad. Listen to this, though, guys. Listen to this. This is for the audience.
Be coming to college campuses, many of them this year.
That's a tell, by the way. If you just know simple body language tells, watch his side.
Be coming to college campuses, many of.
He's not going. He's not going to college campuses. That's a total tell. I'm going to college campuses. No, you're not.
But look at his, who he reminds me of is the guy we talked about last week, right? With the fake, all his hair is burned off.
Oh, David Ferry. Yeah.
Kind of looks like
the alopecia guy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Okay.
This is such an obvious tell. He's definitely not going to college campuses.
I will be coming to college campuses, many of them this year.
It's been decided that you will be dressed as a priest to help you get away in the pandemonium.
Right, so there's pandemonium. There's a guy who dresses he has 3 different costumes. That's the story they're telling us. He got on the roof, then he changed his clothes, then he jumped down, then he, like, his rifle barrel suddenly became 12 inches long, and then he jumped back up, then he changed his clothes, then he put his rifle together, and then we found the 30-06.
It's like the magic bullet thing.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, we're right back there.
Yeah.
Chun-Jin will give you a 2-piece Soviet Army sniper's rifle that fits
2-piece Soviet rifle that'll fit in. This is like the same kind of
nicely
stuff.
into a special bag.
We're going to pick up that blood-stained microphone where Charlie left it.
You are to shoot the presidential nominee through the head. And Johnny will rise gallantly to his feet and lift Ben Arthur's body in his arms and stand in front of the microphones and begin to speak.
We're going to pick up that blood-stained microphone where Charlie left it.
Then Johnny will really hit those microphones and those cameras with blood all over him, fighting off anyone who tries to help him, defending America even if it means his own death.
We will never stop standing up for what America is and for what she should be.
That's perfect.
Crazy, bro.
That's so well edited perfectly. That's great. I love
It's the Manchurian Candidate script, man. This is like off the charts.
Literally the same. It's like those remakes, It's guys. I mean, and it wasn't even. It was, but he literally, the blood stained. It's the same friggin' exact same script right
just
there.
Just like the blood flag of Hitler. Just like Hitler dipping the flags in the blood.
Right,
Remember
the blood
that?
flag. Yeah, that's right. And they're the Horst Wessel song. All these people are down and dead. We're gonna remember them. Now go get the trannies.
Never
it's the
forget.
Trannies. Yeah,
Never
it's not me. It's not the Oh man, this is so dark, dude. This whole Charlie Kirk thing is pitch black dark. Like there's conspirators and liars all surrounding him and his friends. It's really crazy. They don't see it. They don't see it.
The fact that they traumatize us with the video. We all see it, right, with the Twitter crap. And it was this guy who shared the crap, and my Twitter just showed it to me. I don't follow him, but it showed me this video. Right, Twitter did that. So we're all traumatized. Go ahead, please.
Just to say one thing about Charlie Kirk, again, he had in his hands a potential fate of the entire upcoming American electorate. He just wasn't some random dude, right? He was somebody that could have absolutely shaped the entire direction of the United States political establishment, especially not working with the current, but working with the youth and, 18 to 35. So this guy, it is like the assassination of a president. I mean, it's a high level political power thing.
He's young, he's charismatic, and he's
just like Kennedy was.
Yeah. So I mean, this is like he had another 25 years or whatever, how much time he wanted to put into it. So that's like a real threat. This isn't Joe Biden, This is really like we're targeting this guy. Like that's how bad it is.
In the throat, we talked about his speech, right?
And it's not like Trump, because I mean, Charlie Kirk started doing this at 18 years old. Yeah. So he did it out of his own passion and his own thing, and that's the thing. He still had a conscience. That's why he
certainly did,
and that's why he had to be taken out. Also.
He certainly did.
Right.
Yeah.
He wasn't hollowed out. He was still there.
He wasn't hollowed out.
Yeah. So
incredible. It ties into our whole talk today. Like this whole thing. Like you just see these very potent, very meaningful connections and tie-ins to current events. It's really extraordinary.
Exactly. I'm glad to be able to talk with you guys every week here, like while it was happening. Like, I mean, when it happened, I came and talked to you guys the next week, that was part 3, I think. I think the image I used was down the sniper rifle of Shaw when he's pointing it, and it was pointed at the neck too of the guy. That's the one I picked. Anyway, but yeah, getting back to, they show us all on X the trauma. We get this injection into our hearts of trauma, and then they see our reaction. Right. It's all there on Twitter, like captured. Who shares what? When do they stop watching? Who do they share it to? And then who does that share to what? And who likes what? And whose opinion are they making their own videos, filming their own face? You're like, blah, 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 what? And they're all that's getting into their recording, their training.
AI generated nudging, giving people in a particular thing, giving them a video link, sending something, maybe even posting a comment. You know what I mean? Because you can do that with actual teams of people, but then you can also run it with AIs, and you could start creating aggregate groups by herding people into these aggregates, and then, but
then they're the basket of deplorables, easy to rope them. And
well said. That's what's really scary, is that there is like a Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, behind the digital curtain, manipulating a lot of these people. There's people who aren't going along with the program, and that's Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson are two.
Even though she's married to a rich Jew, and she's a Roman Catholic, like she's really,
but
really
weird. She's telling a much different story than some other people are telling. Like she's like, well, you weren't with Charlie for like 10 years, and she's like, I was texting him this year, talking to him. Right. So they make it sound like she's out, like she doesn't have anything to say about it. But she was on tour. She was on tour with him last year.
She broke loose of Daily Wire. She is a pariah to Daily Wire. She's like, the enemy of that whole thing. Right. So it's another.
Can you play this video? Because if I keep looking at Alex Jones' face, I'm going to get traumatized.
The other thing is, this was the first speech on his tour. So he was on a 2-week tour. So he was signaling, this is where I'm going to be in Utah, which not wise.
All right, I'm just going to report the facts to you.
He's giving us the facts. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, right.
I was talking to Andrew Colvett, who is the official spokesman for TPUSA, who I've met before, who's a great guy.
You want to talk about filling the space? This guy cannot get away from a video camera for the last week.
But
and a lot of it, dude, I've followed this. It's just complete mush. He's not doing any good work.
It's always been that, dude.
He looks high as shit, though. I mean, he looks like he's drunk and just did an 8-ball or something,
That might be the case.
Yeah. That's how they control him. That and the tranny porn. We saw that on his phone.
Well, we can talk offline about this guy, but no, it's okay. But
let's give it.
Don't want to get
sued. This is the official story that he's telling.
Big confidant of Charlie Kirk.
Come on, suckers who listen to me. This is the official story. What did he say? I'm here to tell you this.
I'm just going to report the facts to you.
I'm just reporting the facts. Yeah, give me a break.
He's a great guy, and a big confidant of Charlie Kirk. And I put my report out about him talking to the surgeon that was there when Charlie was brought dead to the hospital. and Charlie was being shot from on top. I'm just repeating what he told me.
See, it's not me. I'm not promoting the story. I'm just telling you what he told me. He could actually just not report this because it's baloney. He was not shot with a 30-06. I'm sorry. He wasn't. There's no way.
I don't think he was brought down to the hospital either. I think he was still alive.
Yeah,
the guy who
when he was, but
they said that one of his friends who was right there was in the car with him and said that he just glassed over. His eyes went dead in the car. So and he never came back. Although they got a pulse back apparently.
The throat.
Listen to this though. This is ridiculous.
And he's saying now that no, it didn't go through, which actually makes sense. Now that I think about it, it was coming down, and then went. He asked me not to be too graphic, but it went down his spine, exploded in his heart. Fragments went in there, which makes sense. That's what happens, and that the bullet fragments bounced back up. And they found that. So
makes
this
sense.
is ballistic.
That's what happens. Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Come on, dude. You expect me to believe that?
You were saying that he didn't even need to report this. You know, I actually have seen this video. I saw it from Luke Radowski. Like he just played a video of Alex. He didn't even like have an opinion of his own. He's just a repeater. Like it's just going down the line of like all these like, you know, supposed like alternative media people. Like, I mean, it's full on mind control there.
But the throat with the pointing he's doing, that's almost like a hypnotic command trigger, right? Pointing to the throat, so it's happening to the audience, right?
And he repeats. It makes sense.
See that two fingers like that, right, pushing into his throat. We also have the subway stabbing, you know, and then the way it's going to the heart, and so this is we have to analyze this.
The heart.
Yeah,
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Because I just did an 8-ball and I drank a whole bottle of Johnny Walker.
Right, and he's driving drunk probably, or like, yeah.
It's just so sad. This is like just such a joke.
Yeah, dude. Ouch.
So sad. Anyway, we're at the 2-hour mark, guys. We didn't get to Esther Brooks. I got a ton of stuff on Esther Brooks, but I mean, I think we have our future shows set out before us. But
that's if you would please, could we continue? Because last episode not today, but I mean in the next episode. In the last we talked about G.H. Estabrooks and this document that you downloaded while we were talking. You like found it and gave it to us, and we were just perusing it a little bit. It was very, very connected and deep and very revelatory of everything.
We were joking. You were saying like a guy from Cheetos like accidentally gave it to the public. In my opinion, and I'm not over exaggerating, I do believe that this 500-page document is nothing less than the key to every post Manchurian candidate assassination, unless it's taken out of things. But almost everything that happened after Manchurian candidate can be understood by looking at this 500-page document. So the guy who like gave it to the public, God bless you, and it's green-walled from the Black Vault, but like there is so much great information in this 500 page. I mean, there should be a book on this, but John Greenwald Jr. 2017, like this is the stuff that just comes up. And the guy was probably like sending text to his buddy, like eating Cheetos, like, where are we going to eat today? Panera? Hold on, I got to send this thing out.
I want to go to Chipotle.
Chipotle?
Oh, yeah, who's this guy? This is not important.
Yeah, let me just send this email out and I'll go have some lunch with you. But
it was, I mean, I would very much like to dive into that and look into who G.H. Brooks is and why he was sent. I mean, we already know why he was sending it to FBI, but who he is, and then just like look at this document and then just like kind of scroll through and maybe pick out what we find. And because I'm sure we'll be able to go on an hour more, just riffing on this thing.
Dude, this is like 10 hours. You can see their chart. Tolson's, that's his gay lovers reading this stuff, and it's like 1935. It goes back through. This is how you know how much Hoover knew, because this is all over his desk and all over his stuff. He's acquiring this. They're hanging out together. They're giving speeches. Esther Brooks is going to D.C. They're talking, and John Edgar Hoover, this is in there, memorandum for the director. It's not for like some bump. So Hoover ascertains or concludes that this is all important stuff, or important enough to know. But the interplay, I think I talked about last time, you realize that he's starting to ask better and better questions over time. Like, oh, how can this be applied to law enforcement? How can this be done? Like, whoa, now I get it.
And Roy Cohn probably had access to all this information because he's got Hoover wearing his dress with the gay parties that Hoover would host, right? Dressed up in his female persona.
And then we're back to Manchurian Candidate and the author basing his main criminal, Eleanor, on,
Right.
what's his face?
Right. Cohn. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I look forward to the next episode, and I hope the listeners will look forward as well. And please, William, tell us where we can find you. And we always do that, but still, we want you. New listeners might have not known, so please tell us.
William Ramsey Investigates. You can check out my podcast. I have a lot of other stuff on there, a lot of other kind of mind control topics and things like that, but also books. Like I'm doing one today on a guy who wrote, actually, after we're done, about 15 minutes, I'm having on Tim Tate, who was the guy who actually did the Conspiracy of Silence documentary. If you remember that, you couldn't find it. It was never really published.
Yeah. That's the one that was pulled, right? From
correct.
So
I'm having him on.
Minutes for Australia, right? It was pulled. Right.
It was supposed to be published by a cable company, and then it was secretly bought and taken off the market. But pieces of it kind of came out, and in the early internet history, you could actually see it before it was all censored. But it had some of these guys on here involving mind control, Bonacci, Boner,
Right.
Troy Boner
Franklin
was
scandal.
Yeah, Franken scandal.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
So I'm talking to him, and also he's the
Awesome.
author of a book on RFK, which covers a lot of the stuff about Sirhan. So it ties into this. But today we're talking about some spy versus spy stuff. But he's an important host, and I really should have him back on about conspiracy
That's
science.
great.
Just give
I
you
would
an
love to
idea.
hear that. That's
Well,
great.
the conspiracy of science, at least as I recall, it was listed in the morning. It was listed like in the TV guide and newspapers, afternoon editions of newspapers. It was pulled out. Right. I think it was supposed to be shown on HBO. Yeah. So it was.
And
so
then they prosecuted the kids. So the kids who were saying these are all criminal, they were
yeah.
the ones who got prosecuted, not the criminals. So
Yeah, the
really
one
dark.
girl that didn't go back on her statement, she had the longest prison sentence.
Right.
Well, everybody else
They had a
Bonacci
conscience.
recanted and yeah.
They had a conscience. I think that Troy Boner died mysteriously, and I don't know what happened to Bonacci. But some of the operation, I think the stuff is either in the unredacted version of Operation Mind Control, where they talk about Aquino and what they were doing there, because the Franklin scandal involves some of the stuff. It's unbelievable, but it was redacted from later editions, I think, of Operation Mind Control. I'll have to look into it for the next show, but I got to
That's
run and
great.
crap.
Thank you so much, William.
All right. Yeah.
Peace.
Thanks, William. Thank you so
All right,
much. And
Peace.
just one last thing. When we looked at that last week, he talked about these types of hypnotic inducing trance triggers. I think we just saw one with Alex Jones, the 2 fingers to the neck. That's an example of one of these things. Potentially. I'm throwing that out there, but thank you guys. Thank you, Sean. And it was
Thank you,
it's
Hans.
been great. And we're just
Peace.
we're breaking the sound barrier here. So.
On
Much
to the next
love.
one. Next to part 5. Part 5.
Talk
is
to you next week.
on it. All right, guys.